the script of The Young Ones, and this thing arrived, you know, covered in Marmite stains and half written in pencil and illiterate, full of Ben Elsell's terrible spelling. Rather like Monica Lewinsky's dress, you know, it had strange stains all over it. And I could not make head or tail of this.
Hello, everybody. I'm the Easter Bunny.
But it's June the 12th.
What?
It's the middle of summer. Big ears.
Oh.
It was full of brilliant ideas, but so incompetently put together, you think, well, if I did this, I'd just try and structure it, make it neat.
I'm really sorry.
It would have destroyed it, really.
I really screwed that up, didn't I? I should think I'd look pretty stupid if anyone was watching.
It had all kinds of quirky elements in it already, that first script. But I said, if we can just put a band in or something, because then we'll be a variety show and we'll get slightly more money.
I'm depressed. It's 9 below zero.
So we put 9 Below Zero in, playing in the boys' room. So anyway, we made the first show, and we were thrilled with it. And, you know, we said to each other, well, we've got what we set out to get here. And it sat there for quite a long time. And then what happened was, Channel 4 by this time were hoving on the horizon. Jeremy Isaacs announced his first night's lineup, and it included the comic strip. And somebody somewhere in the BBC, I still to this day don't know who it was, said, well, hang on a minute, well, that's that lot we've got on that tape, isn't it? And suddenly I got this phone call, can you make 5 more?
Why won't it go off, Mike?
The characters in The Young Ones were based on real people that we'd known when we were students.
Pollution. All around. That's what Rick is all about. This is trying to fit in with the groovy revolutionary front and failing badly. Sometimes up, sometimes down. There was a lot of stuff I was trying to sublimate in myself, sort of arsey behaviour, which kind of came out in Rick. I was always trying to stay cool and keep that twerp down, and the only way to live with that was to let him out. Are you suggesting that we make a profit out of nuclear arms?
Yes.
Oh, I think that would be very fine behaviour for a Cliff Richard fan, wouldn't it? For someone who actually thinks the lyrics of Devil Woman have got something to say. I liked falling through the roof with Aid. It was absolutely terrifying. We were lying on a bed like this with our backs facing the floor, I don't know, 30 feet up, something like that, 40 maybe, watching this wire. And one of the reasons Aid's great, he's got a million reasons why he's great, is because he's got the balls of a giant. I mean, they're really big. But also he's brave, is the point I'm trying to say. I'm just shitting myself, because this explosion's going to go off here, bang, and then we're going to fall, free fall to the floor. And when we hit the floor, Paul says, as soon as you hit the floor, as soon as you feel the floor, start fighting, OK? And we get into the fight routine. And I was so scared. I said, Aid, I think I'm going to die. And he turned to me and he said, good. That was the most terrified I've ever been in my life. More terrified than falling off a quad bike. I was unconscious then, so I wasn't scared. And when I came back, I was Jesus.
Bad karma.
Well, I think in terms of Rick and Aid's act, which is the slapstick act, they always need a victim to hit over the head with a frying pan. Yes, he's a victim, but actually there's a lot of bottled up aggression in there too, and so anything where Neil sort of threw a tantrum or suddenly became worked up about something, I find very funny, because it's so ineffective and useless.
Yeah, I'm not into violence, Rick, but I'm really going to smash your faces! Oh, God.
Neil, how are you giving that
The original idea was Pete Richardson should play what was to become Mike, and Pete was and is a sort of strangely cool guy.
What happened subsequently was that Peter Richardson and Paul Jackson had some kind of major falling out.
This is actually very serious.
So we then had a fourth character with no one to play him, which is why we ended up casting Chris Ryan as Mike.
I know what you're thinking, baby, and if I was to tell you, you'd think I was talking in centimetres.
And I handled that wrong. I mean, I was a kid. The first thing I'd ever done. On the other hand, it didn't need to be as long a row as it was.
All right, somebody call a taxi.
They asked me to be in it, really, because I'd been the kind of... I think because they were frightened of me, really. But I think I told them that I didn't want to get stuck as a kind of character or some crap like that. Because they just used to leave a hole in the script, really, and I'd fill it during rehearsals, more or less, with either bits of me act or some crap that I had made up.
I live in a tower block, and the thing about those is there's a terrible noise problem, because there's no noise insulation at all. You know, and 8 floors below you, there's always some bastard who's got a Yamaha home organ, you know.
And we had no real idea of how difficult it had been for Paul to get it on, I think, because we thought, yeah, we're brilliant. Yeah, they'll put it on.
Over the 12, I think the BBC were incredibly supportive. I mean, it was challenging at the time. Most particularly in the first series, the one that we felt really strongly about was what I still think is one of the great Comet scenes, which is when, you know, the super cool Rick who's holding the party and he's, you know, got all his mates turning up.
Anyone got a straight? A what? A cigarette.
Oh, sure.
Oh, what a great fad!
And in desperation and embarrassment, because nobody does turn up and everybody's sitting around with nothing to do, he opens a girl's handbag, you know, and that old thing that we were all taught at the time, I can't believe it's still true now, but every young boy was taught, never look in a lady's handbag, you don't know what you'll find. And it's all there, and he gets out of handbags, and of course he doesn't know what it is, you know, the super cool dude in his yellow dungarees, he doesn't know what it is. And it was, I thought, a very funny scene, and he's completely left looking like a complete tip.
It's a telescope! A telescope with a mouse in it!
Come to the party.
Here, have a drink, Mousy. Oh, it's gone all big. I'll get a tissue, it's all right. It's all right, there's a whole box of them in here. They're called... I think I better go to the lavatory.
And we were all very committed to this scene, and we knew there'd be a difficulty about it. And we delivered all 6, and they were viewed by Jim Moyer by this time. And he said, I'm not arguing, I'm not asking you to take it out. We'll go with that. I think it's extremely funny. I think the context it's in. And we would have been ready to take our names off the credits and all this stuff. Didn't need it. Go with it. And I think in that way the BBC were very good. On the other hand, classically BBC, completely out of the blue, he then said, but there's one thing that's got to go. And I think Jimmy Gilbert joined him on this. He said, you've got to take out that scene where Aid's fucking the floor.
And we looked at each other and said, I'm sorry, Jim, we don't know what you mean.
Hard girls!
So we had to rack our brains, and we realised what it was. We said, wait, that's complete nonsense. He's doing press-ups to show how hard he is.
Do you want to see how many press-ups I can do?
And I said, well, last time I fucked the wife, it looked like that. It was about getting off with girls, masturbation, going to the toilet and farting, and, you know, it was quite sort of schoolboy humour in a lot of ways. I think I liked the last episode of all where they go over the cliff.
Look out! Cliff!
It was just such fun, sort of killing them all off and destroying everything. So cruel and pointless. So I enjoyed that.
Phew! That was close!
Television executives, as we know, like their talent the way they like their eggs, poached. So, just as the BBC feared, no sooner had the closing credits of The Young Ones rolled than Rick Mayall and co were back on Channel 4 as the even younger ones.
This looks like a grand spot for a picnic. Rather.
Peter Richardson always had a plan for how it would work. I mean, I think he thought that he would get a gang of people together and then he would choose who he wanted to take with him into making films, and he would be the kind of the drive behind all of it.
All right, then. But you must do exactly as we tell you. Oh, I promise. I'll do anything just to be friends with you.
The very first one was 5 Go Mad in Dorset, which is a great idea. OK, take Enid Blyton and just do her for real, with little racist characters and snobbish characters.
I say, Jew,
masked man looks foreign.
Yes, I expect his name's Gollywog. Yes, or Tarzan.
I think we'd better call the police just as soon as we get back to Cairn Cottage.
If it did tackle things like racism and sexism, it was because it was just so obviously easy to do that.
Really, George, it's about time you gave up thinking you're as good as a boy. I mean, Anne is just a girl, but she doesn't mind, do you, Anne?
Well, I absolutely do mind, actually.
Steady on, you two. The holes have only just started.
The real key to it was the fact that each one was going to be completely different. It was going to be nothing like anything on telly had ever been before. Every single film in a series was going to be a completely different story about different things, about whatever each group wanted to do. Aid's always really wanted to be a rock star, and he's a very good guitarist. Pete's a good drummer, and Nigel's a very good singer and guitarist, but I'm crap.
There's definitely similarities, something like Bad News and The Young Ones.
Yeah, I was with this chick, and we were just about to get down to it. I went and put my foot through the television set.
No.
Yeah.
It's the same gang, still bitching each other for the same reasons, you know.
I bet your mum was really angry.
Well, she wasn't there, was she, Dan?
Yeah, but I mean, when she gets back, she's going to be really angry.
She won't be getting back.
How come?
Because she's dead.
There's just some kind of, to be romantic about it, some kind of electricity we just set off in each other. The history of being together so long. Just a glance from Nigel can make me do something to Pete, who'll do something to Aid, and we just all set each other off.
We're not basically a heavy metal band. We're a bit more subtle than that. Aren't we, Colin?
What?
We're a bit more subtle than that.
Yeah, we're subtle, but basically we're heavy metal, aren't we?
A lot of the dialogue was improvised. I mean, Adrian, who wrote it, knew exactly each character. You know, he knew what I was like, what I would improvise, what I'd be likely to do.
What I'm saying is we're just not simple heavy metal, you know.
I thought we were heavy metal.
I know we've got heavy roots, you know. And I mean, what I'm trying to say is that we're trying to progress a bit, you know. We're trying to break a few barriers.
Are we?
To fail as a musician in Bad News was in my heart, but I think for the others it was kind of, they would have always really wanted to be rock stars.
All we've got to do is make a record and sell it. I mean, we'd be as rich as the Stones if we'd sold as many records as them.
We filmed it very much on the hoof. So everywhere we were filming, we had car park attendants or traffic wardens come and say, you can't film here. So we'd be really just getting out the van quickly, filming a sequence, getting back in the van, going off to the next bit. And it was a very exciting way to film, because normally filming is dead boring.
I mean, if we're going to revitalise the British film industry from an American perspective, then Miners' Strike is undoubtedly the sort of film that we should be doing this year.
Again, it was a very simple idea, you know.
What about Al Pacino as Arthur Scargo?
Cappuccino box.
Imagine if Americans made a film about that strike. That's the idea.
They want to strike McGregor.
You miss one day of work, Scargill, and this miner dies. Strike, Arthur, strike!
Strike, the bloodshed begins. I think best performance Peter's I've ever seen him do, I think it's just brilliant, is Al Pacino. It's just very, very good.
God damn it, Arthur, you're gonna have to choose. It's me or the Union.
Don't say that! Don't ever say it to me again. I love the NUM. It's my job.
I think it was one of the best things we did.
Slam?
Yes, sir!
You're all right.
There goes the fastest trade union leader you will ever see, son.
With the success of The Young Ones and the comic strip established, alternative comedy struck its third successive TV hit with Saturday Live, a variety show featuring new alternative performers, much like the American show Saturday Night Live. However, no one noticed the similarities, thanks to Channel 4's brilliant decision to miss out the word night in the title.
It came from Jeremy Isaacs. Jeremy said down through Mike Bolland, who was the commissioning editor, you know, we need an alternative variety show.
A lot of people have been saying to me, you know, why do a live show? In fact, my brain's saying it to me now. Why are you doing a live show? You know what happened the last time. Can't tell you what my bum's doing, and...
We knew about the American show, and I'd watched it as a punter.
Saturday Night Live!
But it was an homage to that, really, rather than a copy of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have to be honest with you. I do not feel well tonight. I woke up this morning with a splitting headache. It was as though my head were in a vice.
We put together a pilot, which went out as a one-off somewhere over the Christmas period.
This is all you're getting tonight.
And it was a variety show, so exactly what we've been asked to do, you know, just like we'd done the Two Ronnies or Morecambe and Wise or Cannon and Ball. This was the alternative version. So you had Lenny hosting it, you had music on it, you had a couple of guest bands, and then Lenny did a song with Style Council. And you had some visiting guests, so Dawn and Jenny were in that show.
And straight we fell a bonking long and hard. My love juice was unleashed, and we had need of lard.
It had nothing to do with you. You was dancing about in a silly llama hat behind me at the time. I remember it well. Yeah, it was just rude, really. It was rude. I'm sorry. Sort of thing you're not very proud of, where your granny said.
I used to go well at the King's Head, so we just bunged it on television.
His skirt was many a jolly one, as I did smile and moan. We gave it some trombone, my boys. We gave it some trombone.
The characters are fairly
It's a traditional lyric. I don't know why anyone's... Isn't it? Isn't it?
You told me it was a traditional Cornish lyric.
We gave it some trombone, my boys. We gave it some trombone.
The great thing about it being live is...
presenting the show. You just go on and...
It was over and done with very quickly. That was the good thing. You just did it and then we could get drunk then.
Yeah, that's true. You thought, well, that's great. We get paid that money. We go along, yeah.
There's a party afterwards.
There's a party
It feels like a party when you're doing it.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter what we do. Let's do that tromboning thing.
Let's do that sketch.
It was just such a high, and it was such a great show to do, and we had all got a great belt out of it. And almost inevitably, Channel 4 said, OK, let's do 10 in the autumn.
Loads of money!
Look at hell, not Saturday Live.
The first series of Saturday Live was what they call a curate's egg. Bits of it were absolute crap. Bits of it were pretty good.
I went to my doctor just the other day. I had to wait a week because I could not pay.
Hale and Pace, who did, I think, about the sixth one, really helped to turn that around. I mean, that show really... By that time, we'd got our act together and we were working the audience better, and actually, Gareth and Norman are brilliant at playing a big crowd.
The national health ain't no good for me. Gonna get my medication done privately.
It was very, very exciting because it was like doing your own bits and pieces that you really look forward to doing, and you could write up until last minute. So, not that we're madly or ever were madly topical, you could include that element. It had that electricity because it was live. The cameras were flying around all over the place. Audiences being, you know, really, really getting into this.
Inflatable elephants.
Yeah, all that stuff. And of course, great acts that were on the show as well.
Good evening, Pest.
Man Called Ironside was the first one. That was realistic, wasn't it? Bloke in a wheelchair on the homicide squad.
Oh, George!
Look at that.
It's a marvellous sight, isn't it?
Just.
There's nothing like a decent crease in your trousers, is there? Oh, you don't want to bother with the white stuff. No, if it's nightlife you're after, you come to old Stuart.
Oh, well, appreciated, Stu, but I think I'll stick with a prostitute. You know where you are.
Can we stop destroying this set in the corner of the room, please? Lovely professional show. Just find a chair, sit down, I'll plug it in later, all right, mate? Yeah, did that one in a warm-up, which is why I don't get a laugh. Nice.
So really, at the point that I came in, it was quite easy for me and Jeff Postle to sit down and say, well, Ben should host it, because that seems to be fine. Harry's great, you know, Hugh and Stephen are very good. There were various other elements that we kept.
We are the Dangerous Brothers. Dangerous Brothers! My name is Richard Dangerous, and this is Sir Adrian Dangerous.
Their timing and their understanding as a double act, as a physical double act, is of the highest. I mean, you know, they really can make you gasp in pain when they seem to kick each other or tweak each other's tits or you know, poke each other's eyes out. They are very, very skilled knockabout comics.
And so, to the election, ladies and gentlemen.
We were almost the only people doing that, so we had a pride in its quality. in the fact that not only were we the only people doing this, we were per se doing it better than anyone else, so we prided ourselves on our timing.
I still don't get it.
We did our impression of Towering Inferno when I had to set fire to aid.
Ladies and gentlemen, my impression of Dante's classic film, The Towering Inferno.
We tested the trousers. You get stuff when you're burning. I'm quite a special effects man now. You get this stuff that you paint on your trousers, and in the middle of rehearsal, we said, okay, so we went out to the drive, and with the special effects guys, and we set fire. He lay down, and we set fire to his trousers, and they didn't hurt his legs, so that's fine.
The moment of truth.
So we got to the recording, he stands on the chair, and I throw a match at him, and woof, his legs go up. Perfect, except that he's not lying down, he's standing vertical, and the flames are coming up. They'd already established, they said, all you got to do is think of, remember the name Peter. If there's any trouble at all, we've got guys with fire extinguishers here, just say Peter. Peter is the code word. He goes on fire, he's standing up, and they're going, oh, like this, he thinks, fuck! And I'm thinking, is he all right? And he's standing there like this, and he can't remember the guy's name, he's going, Dave! Phil! Gordon! And in the end, he just threw himself on the ground and went, fuck, I'm on fire!
My bloody trousers! Stop! Well, viewers, can you spot what went wrong?
That was very amusing. So there's always a little something in there for me, not just for the audience, setting fire to my pal Aid.
Hello, ladies and everything. It's a very sad day today because how come we sell up moving out? Yeah, pull up stumps and bugger off, innit?
The very last show we did of Friday Night Live got a review in Time Out saying, this is your last chance to catch this state-of-the-art variety show which has redefined the form on television. And 3 weeks later we started repeats of the same series, and the preview in Time Out said, another chance to catch this clapped-out old variety show. It's just...
Before Saturday and Friday Live, there were scarcely any gigs in the country. There was one Jongleurs, there was a Comedy Store, and there were the odd ones out of London. I mean, virtually immediately after Saturday Live, stand-up comedy became a sort of viable career option for just about everyone.
And just about everyone who did try the career option of stand-up wanted to talk about one thing, the size of their penis, especially the women. And, of course, politics, as we'll see next week. My name's not Ben Elton. Good night.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are the Ben Elton Brothers. My name is Richard Ben Elton, and this is Lady Asian Ben Elton. Blah-de-blah-de-blah. Thatcher's Britain. Whoops, bit of politics there. My name's Ben Elton. Good night.
Interrupted our flower arranging dance.
Exactly, bumface. I wonder if the Liberals in the audience got that one.
The comedy continues on BBC Two with Gimme 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 next.